what you love to hate. Shake 'em up like a quake. Pop your feelings and turn and dispose 'em like haters I throw away. I'm forever blessed. Got the spirit that's holy controlling me. I ain't gotta coordinate. I just sit back and buckle my bells and I'm ready to blaze in the stars of my destination. Melted broadcast, open vision. Melted broadcast, open vision. Melted broadcast, open vision. Melted broadcast, open vision. So, what's going on, Gina?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, Tony. And hi, Mary B. Thank you so much for having me on the Melted broadcast today. I was really looking forward to it. And I find your microphone with the blood on it to be a really freaky image.
I don't think it's blood. It's like the chrome or whatever melting.
melting. But it does look
Hey,
cool.
okay.
It does. Yeah, you actually she actually mentioned that the other day whenever I did the promo for the conference that we're gonna have. And she's like, that looks like blood. She's like, it looks scary. Well, that's what she said. It looks scary. And I'm like, it's melting.
I said, so what's up with that? We all want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me on your show. There's always so much to say with me. And those of you who are not familiar with me, I'm the kind of person that I've had interesting dreams my whole life, all kinds of spiritual experiences. And when I was a small child, this was, of course, very normal, very natural.
Yeah.
But as I got older, it wasn't cute anymore. And I became known as the girl who told stories and made things up to get attention. And I didn't really resonate with that because I had no reason to tell stories. I also grew up Roman Catholic. And so when it came to conversations about God or spirits, that was all allowed. I also was raised in North America and was born and raised in Timmins, Ontario, Canada. I don't know Shania Twain. I get asked that a lot. Were you going to ask? And so anyways, like we celebrated the North American holidays like Halloween, Christmas, the Easter Bunny. So I was struggling in my childhood because this box that I had to fit in. And if I didn't fit into that box, I wasn't in right relationship with my community. And when I was in grade 2, at the age of 7, I actually was facing the stigmas of mental health. I didn't realize that until all these years later. So what happened was, like I said, me and my interesting stories, they weren't cute anymore. So one evening, I was sleeping and I was not hallucinating. I was not dreaming. I'm very familiar with lucid dreams. I remember very clearly waking up. And as I was waking up, 2 angels came out of my wall. Now, for a lot of people listening, you might think, oh, what a special experience, angels, Yeah, it scared the daylights out of me, okay? I remember like just being scared and sitting right up in bed with my eyes bugged out. Yeah. And they came from the side, horizontal. They sang hallelujah. It was the most phenomenal harmony I've ever heard to this day in my life. I wasn't afraid they were going to hurt me or anything, but just the fact that something came out of my wall scared the hell out of me. It was not natural or normal for anything to come out of the wall. So in that moment, my world didn't make sense to me anymore. So they disappeared. And it began a routine of me waking up in the middle of the night, and I had a hard time sleeping. But to go back to this coming out of the wall business, this is all part of the ontological imperative, something I wasn't aware of until my later adult years. So when the world around us doesn't make sense anymore, that's traumatizing.
Yeah.
When we don't make sense to the world, that's traumatizing for us too. So my hearing and vision, because this caused trauma, started to flip-flop. And nobody talked to me about trauma. So I didn't know that when you get traumatized, that's exactly a symptom as a result. So if you see something that was very upsetting, that was not in right relationship with you, you very likely wear glasses. If you hear something, especially in childhood, that is not in right relationship with you, guess what? Your hearing is off because that's part of the trauma. So when I saw and heard these angels coming out of my wall, it was not a whole and holy experience. It scared the
Yeah.
crap out of me.
Mhm.
So now the girl who was telling stories, well, nobody believed me about these angels. It was confusing because in my child mind, they were angels. Why would it be a problem for anybody to believe me about that one?
Right.
Yeah.
And then now my vision and hearing are flip-flopping. But I don't understand that it's flip-flopping. So when I'm in grade 2, I actually was pulled from the classroom lots to have my vision and hearing tested. Like nobody knew what was going on with me. My mom did take me to see a priest at one point. He was the best person to talk to. He just believed me. He told me that God loved me and that if I was scared and not ready for this, just to communicate that to God. And it just was very unsettling. It was traumatizing. And so I ended up lying to the optometrist at one point, and he could tell that I was lying, which did not help my case. Because in my perspective, I couldn't see, but then sometimes I could see. And I remember this boy in my class got glasses, and I remember thinking, well, I probably need glasses too. To this day, I wear contact lens. My hearing normalized, if you will, but that flip-flopping really didn't help my scenario. So what I'm trying to express here is that one, trauma is a real thing and we don't talk enough about it. How you think and feel matters to the point that it causes ailments. Every single thought you have, even if you don't even mean to have it, is
Yeah.
immediately followed by an emotional response, which is immediately followed by a chemical biological reaction in your body. So it doesn't matter what the trauma is. It just matters that it's trauma. And the ailment that was caused was my vision and also thoughts of paranoia. So I was teased and stuff like that. And I learned pretty quick not to talk about it. There were other incidences that happened and just a lot of confusion. So years go by, like decades go by. And I end up having a severe panic attack. I was a public school teacher. And after the severe panic attack, all my senses heightened. And I started to face the stigmas of mental health because I couldn't explain what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
The severe panic attack was severely undermined. And I ended up facing the stigmas of mental health, which brought me right back. It triggered me to when I was in grade 2 and nobody believed me. So for what it's worth, if somebody tells you something, I saw Bigfoot, I saw the Virgin Mary, like maybe they didn't see Bigfoot. Maybe it was something else. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the Virgin Mary. Maybe it was something else. But for what it's worth, they saw something. Okay. So just believe that they saw something. Like, why would somebody make something like that up? Right. And so there's a cry out from the little girl within to create safer spaces to share story medicine, because we are a story species. We demand ceremony. We demand rite of passage. Our logical mind demands a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I ended up becoming a hypnotherapist. I know all about the rules of the mind, and it's worth sharing. What's familiar keeps you safe, even if it means lying to yourself and creating false inhibiting beliefs. So we keep ourselves stagnant. We don't face our fears. We totally get caught up in programming, and we ultimately end up showing up in the world in ways that we don't want to.
Yeah.
So things like the Salem witch trials and whatnot, that really wasn't that long ago. And it is an extreme example, but I have friends and colleagues who told me straight up, Gina, I love you. I support you. But I'm never going to like or comment anything on your Facebook. I'm not even going to join your group. I'm not going to subscribe to your YouTube, because they're worried that it might negatively impact them. Right? Because
That's crazy.
maybe their employer won't like that. So for us to talk about the ghosties and spirits and things like safe extractions, whatever, But even within my own family, it's like you have to pick and choose what you talk about. You have to walk on eggshells, and ultimately it keeps us closed-minded. It keeps us
Yeah.
in that box.
And that is
So,
that from a
oh,
personal experience, that is such a lonely road, for because I was like that. So you can't really tell them because they don't believe what you believe and they think you need you need help. Basically, you're crazy. And so that is so lonely. So I
Yeah.
understand exactly what she's saying.
I did want to ask about whenever you did see those two angels. Well, were your parents supportive about it? And I know you said that they had taken you to the church. Like, were they okay with it? Because I know, like, within the Catholic religion, I mean, wouldn't they accept that as, oh man, that's like a miracle?
honestly, Tony, like I thought I was going to be Miss Popular. As scary as the experience was, I thought, oh my God, I am like the chosen one because I saw angels. And there's probably going to be a
Yeah,
school assembly. And, maybe like through the priest, I'll introduce the angels to the school. Like, I mean, I was open minded, right?
yeah, that's
But
cool.
that totally didn't happen. My parents talking on the phone, like to my aunts and uncles, like it did not resonate. And I didn't understand things like mental illness, but those were the conversations my family was having. I wasn't put on any medication, at least to my knowledge, but I was actually taken out for language arts. So in grade 2, I had to go to the special education classroom because that's how much of a disconnect this caused.
Yeah,
And it really was not helpful because you nailed it, Mary. It was very lonely. And then it further separated me from my peers because now I'm going to the special education classroom.
Right.
That feeling that there's something wrong with me or I'm different was only reinforced by being removed from the rest.
Mhm.
When I went to see the priest, my mother took me. Uh, I was thankful that the priest and I just got to talk alone. But that's pretty much where it ended. My mom and dad had the priest come and bless the house because I kept asking if somebody died in the house because I
yeah,
didn't understand like where these angels came from. And I was also really scared to even just touch the wall for the longest time because I was scared I might go through the wall. My bedroom was downstairs. So the child mind, I thought the angels were able to go down into the soil and then through the wall, right? And it wasn't
yeah,
until decades later, just a handful of years ago, really, where I'm watching David Adair speak about things like angels. And he was asking questions like, why wouldn't an angel knock at the front door? Why wouldn't an angel knock at the front door during daylight hours? Why wouldn't an angel get the parents involved? And I thought, oh my God, like, is David Adair familiar with my story? Because I felt like he was talking to me,
yeah,
and because that was exactly it. And it made me angry. And it was then that I realized those were not angels, which now opened up a whole new can of worms because who were they? And to this day, I have the humility to admit I don't know.
yeah,
Were they ETs? Was it technology? Was it some kind of ET technology hybrid? But it wasn't angels in the traditional sense, like Christmas angels. And I've seen ETs in the past. I've seen Bigfoot, but those were very natural, very normal experiences, very short lived, very nonchalant. But this experience is quite haunting. And I'm in search of finding the right hypnotherapist actually to go back that day
yeah.
to really find out like who were they and did they take me somewhere and I don't remember, I don't know. But
Yeah, I was gonna
this is
ask
what Soul
you.
Tribe is about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna ask you. So whenever you saw these angels, like, what did they look like? I mean, because something about their appearance must have been, so intense for it to traumatize you, and what in your mind separated from, what, maybe these aren't angels.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I talk a bit about that in book 4, The Gnome King. I've got 8 books, by the way, which you can get on Amazon. They're all based on my real dreams and real life, half remembered, half misunderstood. So these angels, very interesting. Okay. there's two answers because they changed how they looked. And
Oh,
that was
wow.
something that I was in denial about. Remember how I told you your mind's number one job is to protect you? So
Yeah.
that's what my mind did. And then revisiting and
Oh.
meditating on it. So they came out of the wall horizontal like this. So one is here and the other one is like here. And they're singing and they're very white and cloudy looking. Not exactly clear, but clear, you know. And they had big shoulders. I didn't see official wings, but it looked like they had big shoulders and it looked like they were both wearing big white pajamas. Okay. When they came out of the wall sideways like this, their faces were very gender neutral looking, could have been male or female, and they basically looked the same. However, by the time they made their way around the bed and stood up here, and they were like tall, like to the ceiling and very large. And I remember in my child mind thinking, oh, there's not enough room for them to open their wings. But I don't know if it was wings or not, but they had like big shoulder looking something. Okay. And then their faces changed and they had longer hair and they looked like they could be my aunties or something. Like maybe I thought maybe it was me and my sister, like older versions coming to visit us. I thought maybe I had a close relationship with God when I was a kid. And I also remember thinking that I didn't know the language ancestors at that time, but I remember thinking, oh, deceased family members that look like me, that look like my sister. But they didn't look like that when they came around the wall. So they probably recognized that I was scared and felt uncomfortable and then presented themselves in a way that would make me comfortable. But in truth, it freaked me out even more, right? And when they disappeared, I remember keeping my eyes open. I remember thinking, don't blink, because I know what I'm seeing. This is real. And when they disappeared, I remember thinking, I know you're still there. And then the entire energy just left. So, and I also wanted to mention when they were horizontal and coming out of the wall, it made like a swing kind of noise, and then I heard them sing Ale. But I remember I missed their hands because they came out like this.
Yeah.
And I remember anticipating seeing like big, strong hands to come through the wall, but I didn't see the hands. But I remember thinking, okay, there's the body. Now here comes the feet, because I couldn't see the legs because the pajama thing, right? And in my mind, I was expecting to see like sandals, you know, like in a lot of Jesus cartoons and stuff,
Yeah.
God, Jesus, they always have sandals on, right?
Right.
Well, these folks didn't have feet. It was just cloudy emptiness. And that also freaked me out. So there were a lot of layers of freak out in this one little moment of coming out of the wall and coming across the bed.
Yeah.
And my sister didn't hear anything that night. Nobody knew what I was talking about, nothing. So,
Man, that's wild.
yeah.
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 In a weird way. I mean, not weird, but I don't know. I'm not sure how to say it. I understand exactly where she's coming from, though. That So, do you think that our dreams are messages from like a higher source?
I feel like dreams are a lot of things. Dreams are from a higher source. Dreams are opportunities to lucid dream and test things out. Dreams, I also believe, are multidimensional, so we have opportunity to connect with other parts of ourselves. And I also believe, too, that dreams are meaningless and just our mind reviewing things. So there's different purposes for different dreams. And if you can tap into that, it's very powerful. So when I had the severe panic attack, I started dream journaling every day because I could sense my spirit. I would wake up crying every morning, which was not my personality, because I used to have a very strong voice. Even right now, you'll have to excuse me. I feel like I'm shouting. I don't mean to.
Nah, you're fine.
But it's
I have
because
this strong voice, so you're good.
I was a public school teacher. I've always had a big, loud, booming voice. I don't need a microphone. I'm in the gym. I'm out on the field with the kids, at my union meetings. There's always somebody cute coming with the microphone. I'm done talking by the time they make their way to me, you know? But when I had the severe panic attack, my voice chakra took a big hit, huge hit, and I'm still recovering from it. It is a lot better, but it's not the same. And so I would wake up crying because I didn't realize when I wake up, the first thing I would do was start talking. I have 2 cats. At the time, I had 2 cats. And so my spirit guides, they're like, okay, this is bullshit. Every morning, you're going to start writing, even if it doesn't make sense, talking to us because we're listening. Even though you can't hear us exactly, like we're listening. So write down your thoughts. And I heard about things like dream journaling. I was actually really inspired by the late David Wilcock.
Oh
And he
man.
said, just keep journaling,
Yeah.
you know. And he said, it's going to take a while. It could take like 6 months. So don't be discouraged. And I'm like, okay, so I'm dream journaling. And sometimes I would take the color orange and just go like that. I don't know what it means. But you know what? Things did start making sense. And I did start having interesting dreams. And I always had interesting dreams anyways. But since the severe panic attack, it really escalated. So to make a lot of long stories short, there's this one guy better known as the Gnome King. And when I first mentioned the Gnome King, people were like, stay away from him. The Gnome King is dangerous. Fairy world is dangerous. And I'm like, you know what? I went through a little phase where I thought I should become an expert on categories. So when somebody says Pleiadian, Arcturian, fairies, I know what that means.
Yeah.
And I moved away from it because I realized there's countless categories. And then for myself personally, I get lost in it. So in Gina world, when I'm talking about the Gnome King and fairies, it could have a different meaning for somebody else out there listening. And I respect that. And that's part of the greater alchemy that we're a part of because we invent the language and we have to have the courage to alchemize that language. So I'm having dreams about sticks and stones and binary codes, ones and zeros, black and white,
Oh, no
penis,
way.
vagina. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
sexualized metaphors in nature. And I asked the Gnome King, you know, can you give me something in waking life, like a stick or a stone, so I can bridge my realities, bridge my worlds, because I felt like they were bridging, but I needed some kind of synchronicity, like a physical something, not just like a bird flies by and that synchronicity, not to dismiss that, but I needed like to find something to validate all of these experiences. And I felt intimidated, even though I became a public school teacher. I have an honors degree in English literature. I have a second degree in education. But I'm telling you, there's still a part of me that feels like I'm not intelligent because of that deep-rooted going to the special education classroom and feeling like there's something wrong. And that's part of the story medicine too, is sharing that. So anyways, this is a lot of long stories cut short, but the Gnome King kept telling me about me and story medicine and something about language, and that was very intimidating. And then something about gemstones. I don't have the best memory recall, so I felt very intimidated about gemstones and knowing what this means and that means. So he says, okay, I'll give you something to find. Well, I never found anything, and honestly, I forgot all about it. Then that summer, I'm at the beach, and all of a sudden, I feel compelled. I just know, start digging in the sand. Like I just got there. I wasn't there for very long. And I find these gemstones, and my heart is racing because I know it's from the Gnome King. And one thing leads to another. I take these gemstones home. I start meditating with them. I bury them in these pots that I have. The darkness, representative of the subconscious mind, mixing with me. One by one, the gemstones present. I'm going to represent Eagle Condor. I'm going to represent Manus, the guy who helps you write your Akashic records. Okay, I don't know what the hell to do with any of this, but sounds good. Okay, so I just keep documenting, you know, and I end up developing my own divination practice. So it's just toss around the gemstones. They make a circle. I look for patterns now. And one thing led to another. I share it now with the world. I ended up, my intention was to publish the Dragon Dreams Oracle, which eventually manifested. And it's really funny because there was so much to say, and there's still so much to say, that the first 4 books that I published was actually supposed to just be one book. And it just seems like this is really the Dragon Dreams Oracle, and
Oh,
there's more
wow.
coming, right? So it was really challenging for me to put this together. And I work with a committee. Everybody does. They're called the Committee of the Ones Who Listen. And so if you pray to them and you're like, is anybody even hearing me? Like, they're hearing you. And their job is to hear you like an Akashic record. So they know all the truth about everything. And so I sat down just this last summer and I recorded myself on Zoom. And I imagined the Committee of the Ones Who Listen with me. So each Oracle card is me talking for like anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then I was able to summarize it, bring it down to like a paragraph-ish per card. These are not your typical Oracle cards, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of energy in here, and they're based on my dream journal, like real pictures that like the inner child did, age 7 Gina. So they're very cartoon looking. I felt intimidated to publish these because, you know, people are working with AI. You have some really amazing artists out there.
Sure,
and
I'd
I
rather
thought,
have
well,
that.
you know, yeah, I thought these are more authentic.
And those are
They
for
are.
purchase?
These are for purchase. Yeah, check out my
Awesome.
website, GinaVirginiaCasella.com. There's a little booklet that comes with it. Use the booklet, don't use the booklet. I did a sacred ceremony. I took my bloody tampon and stamped each one. So my resonance, it's all nice and in there. And I've gotten lots of private messages telling me how disgusting that is, but it only encourages me. And these are very foreboding. These are not like light and fluffy.
Yeah.
And combined with the gemstone reading, it's quite the powerful duo. So yeah, there's a lot going on. All my content is now merging together. I'm writing books. I just finished my first mini movie. It's called Looshing, and it's a scary movie. It's 4 minutes long, and I used Laura Ferguson's Starseed Lolo's song Dark Night of the Soul with her permission.
Mhm.
And I'm creating a second movie. I don't have a title for it yet. It's going to be 3 minutes long, and I'm using Starseed Lolo's song The Dragon, which I think yesterday or today you can purchase now, and you can find it
Okay.
on Spotify.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good.
She mentioned it to us.
Yeah, but I did want to jump back real quick. I always hear people mentioning about loosh. What is loosh?
Yeah, so looshers are basically energy vampires, and there's different kinds. So the type of looshers in my, I had a real nightmare a few summers ago. And the looshers, they're very interesting because they transform into, like, they touch each other, and then all their bodies start to transform into one body, into like a big fat body. They don't have bones, there's no organs, there's no blood. It's just fat because somebody literally made them and animated them, no different than making cookies, except they used fat. They came in, they killed the children. I don't know how they killed the children. I was a little ghosty girl, so I jumped in this other girl's body, and there's a whole scene that unfolds. But what I see is the part where the deceased children in the center and the looshers make a circle around, touch each other, form into one big fat blob with their heads sticking out. And then energetically, the children start disappearing, dehydrating, and that's how they feed. There's another way that they can feed. Yeah, it's really disturbing, and they're vulnerable in this state. Like, they can't just, like, if suddenly there was a fire or whatever, I don't know, and they had to leave, like, they need a minute to transform back into their original, like, their own body.
Yeah.
But there's another way that they can feed. They each have one tooth that comes out like a needle. It's very triangular, and it's long, and it's freaky because the tooth is in charge. Yeah, the tooth is sentient. So there's this one part where their leader shows up and backhands one of the looshers, and he falls onto the girl's body, who's dead, because I guess the looshers need the bodies to be a certain deadness. So anyways, his head starts lifting, but it's the tooth that's making him do that. The tooth is in control. And like a magnet, the tooth penetrates the skin. And this is where I call it a Lucer's milkshake, because there's something about that tooth that has a chemical reaction like a spider. In real waking life, there's spiders who, when they penetrate their prey, there's a chemical reaction and the inside of the body turns to mush. So it's like a nice skin suit of like container, and the straw, you just drink it. So the Lucers have a tooth installed like that, and that's how they feast, at least in the dreams I'm having. Yeah. And they get like a life high from this. It's like an addiction. And at the end of the scene, the Lucers are all gone, and it's just me sitting there, and I'm like, oh my God, right? Like, what the hell just happened here? And the Grim Reaper comes to collect the souls, and they start talking to him, and he tells me, like, don't see the Lucers as the bad guys. And I have the most amazing conversations with the Grim Reaper and the Gnome King, for that matter. We talk about things like veganism. We talk about us versus them mentality. We talk about things like what it means to be a chivalrous warrior. We talk about what it means to die with honor. There's a lot of storylines. I mean, it's my first time on my show, right? And you're the Melted Broadcast Soul Tribe. They don't really know me, but there's lots to get to know me, okay, about me.
No, this is cool. I love what you're talking about.
Yeah, like there's so much to say that it's hard to like keep focused, I guess, because there's a lot of storylines. And so I've come to learn that the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective is our soul tribe. We get each other, right? We don't have to explain it. We get each other and the experiences, and we're not alone. We can really be there for each other. And so I do all kinds of things, gemstone readings, energy medicine, but bringing community together and creating safer spaces to have these exact conversations is really the heart at what I'm doing. So I'm shining my light, being my authentic self, and like I said, all my content's merging together. So the conference that we're having, like we got a little video that we can play there, but like the conference that I'm having, the presenters, they've only got 35 minutes to talk. And just getting the presentations together in itself is triggering a lot of the presenters. It's their first time sharing their story medicine in a structured way. Like they've been on shows like this. It's no problem to talk, right? Mm-hmm. But when you actually have like a designated time and space where you have an intention with a beginning, a middle, and an end, no one's interrupting you, followed by a Q&A, it really adds that coherence, because up here in your mind, you think a lot of things, but when you literally, when the present moment, the now is unfolding and there you are shining your light, it's really powerful. So transforming trauma into treasure. And something interesting about story medicine is it can actually become toxic, because what's familiar keeps you safe. So a lot of folks out there, they don't realize this, but they tend to stay stuck in their stories, even though it's traumatic, because it's familiar to them and it keeps them safe. Yeah. And then when they try to move away from that, it's very traumatic, the behind the scenes. So it's an empowering process, and I'm really passionate about it, clearly. And I'm also really passionate about this business of the Akashic Records, because your past does not define you. At one point, I ended up homeless. I actually never had to spend a night on the street, but it's worth mentioning, like a public school teacher right here in Canada. I don't have a criminal background. Like, how did that happen? You want to talk about system failure? So this is another reason why we have to share the story medicine, because how many people out there are listening to this and thinking, oh my God, like she's telling my story, or I'm just like her, or you know what, I have interesting dreams and I don't have anybody to talk to. Like, we're your soul tribe, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, and we very much await you. So I have a free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, and absolutely adore anyone out there listening. Come join us, follow me for free on my BMAC, buy me a coffee. It's free to do that. You get defaulted to the emails, you get in on the hype, and most of all, you learn that you have a community. And having community is actually part of our survival. You don't have a choice but to have a community, no
Yeah.
matter how introverted you are. And we're the community. And epigenetics matters, right? Epigenetics matters. And we also create an epigenetics for others. And so there were shows when I was a kid, like Unsolved Mysteries and that kind of stuff, right? But there was nothing like this kind of stuff.
Right.
And this is what I definitely need.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was like the reason why I wanted to start the Melted broadcast, you know, same reason, to give people a platform where they could come and talk and tell their story.
Yeah.
So that's awesome that you're doing that.
Like, yeah, because we can't talk to certain people. And you feel alone. And I mean, as a kid, I went through a lot of stuff. And who do you really tell? Because, you know, nobody believes you, or they label you as you're crazy. So
Yeah.
you tend to keep that stuff bottled up inside. But you know, interestingly enough, Starseed Lalo, when we did that channeling, she did say, which is why I was so like, I don't know what it is about you, Gina, but there's something there that I feel like I know what she's talking about, and without even knowing what you're talking about. But Starseed Lolo had mentioned when we did a channeling that when they did the channeling, they came through to her to send me a message that I'm a healer, a strong healer, more than I know. And so in my mind, I was telling Tony afterwards, like, why the hell didn't I know this like ahead of time? And what do I need to do? Like, I don't understand what this is. This is so confusing. So, anyways, you're on here telling all these things, and I'm like, I know, but I don't know, but I do know. There's something there that I do know. But it's which is weird. But I did want to ask you a question about the Akashic records. So you mentioned that they're not permanent records. So can you can you explain that?
Yeah. So, and I appreciate you sharing your story. And not that you asked me, but for what it's worth, remember what I said. Your mind's number one job is to protect you. So if that's what Laura was telling you, then there's probably a part of you that is afraid of your own success. You're afraid to step into your own raw power because it's like, holy fuck, that's how powerful you are. But that is so unfamiliar to you that that's scary, and it makes you feel uneasy, you know? And another example I can offer too is like people who are gay and bisexual, who are not allowed to be gay or bisexual, they often don't even hear those words until they're like teenagers or later on in elementary school. But every single person who's gay or whatever, they know by age 3. They just might not know the word for it. And a lot of youth, when they're reading books, that's how they find out. They're like, oh, I'm like that too. And so this is very much a very strong indicator of soul tribe. Like when you get somebody, exactly like you said, even though you don't get them, you get them, you know?
Yeah.
So the Akashic records, yeah, your past does not define you. And there's a lot of folks out there who would like to convince you otherwise. Why? Because in my strong opinion, it's rooted in power and control. If you did something bad and now you're feeling guilt and shame, and I want to be in charge and be the ultimate powerful one, well, I'm definitely going to make sure that you never, ever forget whatever it is you did, so that you could always be down here and I can be up here. Well, forget that, because every single moment that passes by is better known as the present moment. So it's like a ball rolling. That ball is going to roll with or without you. If you're not part of the rolling, that means you're dead and now you're moving on doing other stuff. But the power of the biological ones, we can hone in on our emotions. If you're feeling like crap, you can lie to yourself and change your mind. If you're feeling like crap, You can be truthful with yourself and step into that owl energy. You can play the guitar to shift your thinking and bring yourself joy, literally changing the biological chemical reactions in your body. So this business of healing with the earth, healing with each other, the story medicine, healing with the land, like the water and elementals, very much resonates with me. The Akashic Records is every single moment that passes by in your life, and it's like a math equation. And that math equation, what does it equal? It equals you right here in the present moment. So if there's anything that you want to change about yourself, you can make that change. And that's why the Akashic Records are not a permanent record. If the Akashic Records were a permanent record, we wouldn't have alchemized like we have alchemized.
Yeah.
If they were a permanent record, there would be no opportunity for change. We would be on repeat, and we're not. And this is the power of the spiral. So when it comes to mind reprogramming, if you see a hypnotherapist like myself, my training is in RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, hypnotherapy. So we would go back in time in the sense where we would identify the original blueprint. So I use fear of flying a lot as an example. So I would get you under hypnosis and I would regress you and I would ask you, when was the first time you felt a fear of flying? That might take you back to back when you were 18, you took a flight and there was turbulence and it freaked you out, right? But often it takes you back to a past life where it has absolutely nothing to do with flying. It has to do with being in a small space.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see beyond these themes. And anyways, when we find the blueprint, we smash it. And when we smash it, that means a space is created. That space needs to be immediately filled, and we fill it right there on the spot. And then it's followed by a 21-day integration period. Now, that integration period is very strict. A lot of people, they don't do it, and then they're like, oh, hypnotherapy doesn't work. Yeah, I bet you didn't do the integration period homework, okay? or if you have a really strong biology of belief, hey, you might not have to do it. But this is all part of the mind reprogramming and how it works. So the mind is very logical, like a math equation. And then the mind is very spontaneous and creative. That's your other side of the brain. But the thing is that you can change your habits. You can change your programming. And so this to me is why your past never defines you ever. And we can get into interesting conversations about alternate realities. So let's say, using myself as an example, I was like this serial killer and that's all I did. And that's not me anymore. And now I've changed my programming. That's no longer my Akashic record. So what happens to that Gina that was that serial killer? What happens to her timeline? Mm-hmm. She comes and merges with me. So now it's like I have a 2-in-1. There's me, Gina, the present day, and there's that part of me that I merged, and they live with me now. That timeline, they're not part of that anymore. And some people like that. Some people don't like it. Ultimately, it's based on the biology of belief, and that's very powerful. Biology and belief. And when you put them together, the biological ones we have that power. That's why each of us we're all Pachamama, Mother Earths. Even if you're a super hardcore masculine, you're a Mother Earth. And when we heal with the land, that's what I'm talking about. We're the land. We're walking, talking trees. We're beaver dams and filters. And I have a belief. I know I can't prove anything, right? But I do have a belief that planet Earth and our species is very sacred. We're super special, especially after that Lushing dream that I had. There's other parts of the galaxy, universes, because there's multiple universes. If they're dreaming, they're dreaming about our species. Oh my God, blood and bones, organs, that would save them. And there's a huge problem. There's a lot of synonymous storylines here, but there's a huge problem with ETs, or maybe they're advanced people, because there's a belief that the ETs are the people from this earth, one species anyways. But anyways, there's a belief that they gave up the biology for artificial intelligence. Now there's a huge problem with cloning because the cells can't hold and they're desperate to get biology back.
Yeah.
We are literally a one of a kind. And sure, you can clone us, but those clones won't hold. And that's where we get into the storylines about hybridization. And this is part of control, because we could be hybrids with another species, so their DNA and genes are protected because it's part of ours now. But then the question is, at what point do they fade away the Homo sapien sapien and increase their species, bringing it back again? And it just, wow, you could go in lots of directions. But ultimately, I can't prove anything that I say other than I have a very good success rate with my clients. And there's testimonies that you can find on my YouTube. And it's also interesting because I have a hard time finding testimonies because they're so personal. People don't want to share them. They're like, you know, Gina, initially I wanted to share, but now I'm not so sure anymore. When I did my energy medicine training, I did that with the 4 winds. They're considered the Harvard of energy medicine with Alberto Villaldo.
Oh,
And
wow.
part of that was me facing my fears. And he talked about things like evil spirits, and we shouldn't think of them as evil. They're like mentally ill, very confused. And there's another category of evil spirits that are very like controlling. So going back to the story medicine, having the opportunity to talk firsthand with somebody like Alberto Villaldo and to take his lessons was powerful because nobody else talked to me about that. And part of my energy medicine training was doing things like safe extractions of intrusive entities, doing things like cord cutting. It's really disgusting the number of energies out there that are just feeding off of us, literally have big hooks and straws. So people
How's that
out there
process
who think
go?
they're,
I'm sorry to interrupt
sorry.
you, but I'm curious, like, how does the process go, like with the cord cutting and those, I mean, I guess those practices that you do?
Yeah, so it's not like in the movies, which I think disappoints a lot of people. Like your head's not going to start spinning backwards. You're not going to start doing backwards cartwheels on me.
Oh man.
Sorry to disappoint, you know. But sometimes people make weird noises, you know. So maybe you want to look forward to that. But it's a really beautiful process. Most intrusive entities don't even know that they're intrusive. A lot of them died and they didn't know what to do or where to go. And so they basically clung to you. And that's very nice. And sometimes they even help you out. They give you special messages of hope. If you're having a bad day, that's that guiding voice within you. It's not your spirit guide, it's an intrusive entity. But once you discover that it's an intrusive entity, ultimately they are feeding off of your energy field and they do need to go. And most of them, once they realize, oh shit, I'm an intrusive entity, like they leave, it's fine. And they have a little moment with the client where it's really special and they say goodbye. Sometimes though, the intrusive entities, they're very kind and they'll kindly explain to you that no, they're not leaving. They want to be here, they desire to be here, and they're going to continue to be here. Well, unfortunately, now I have to like forcefully extract you. And I have a special crystal. It's got points on both ends. So when it comes to tools, the shaman is always the number one tool. You are always your number one tool. I don't like spending money on tools, but I was told directly from my own mentors, if I was going to do extractions, this was a requirement because it keeps the client safe, it keeps me safe, and it keeps the entity safe. And even though it might be a painful process, because intrusive entities can be deceased loved ones too. And deceased children often are intrusive entities. Or if a parent dies when the child is young, the parent will end up being an intrusive entity because they don't want to leave their child. But at the end of the day, again, it's an intrusive entity. So anyways, when I do an extraction, the entity literally, they tend to hide at the base of the spine. They come up the spine, down and around the shoulder, out through the hand, and they come in here and then they're trapped in here. And there's a feeling, a sensation. I know it. It's just like anything, you practice it, right? I know the feeling when they're in here, so they can't like fake be in here. I know how it feels. And when I'm done my session with the client, there's no like 24-hour period per se, but you need to take care of this business right away. So I open up the sacred space. I release the intrusive entity. I pay attention if like I spritz my flora. If I notice it goes up, that's representative of the intrusive entity going with the men and women of the past, energy medicine workers for healing. If it goes down, that's representative of the intrusive entity going back down to Mother Earth and basically being unmade, restoring into elementals. And the reasons why they might go up or down are none of my business. And I just notice that, and I let the clients know. And it's always interesting because like within a day or two or a month or two, clients will start having interesting dreams and feel like they have an ally. And that ally is basically the intrusive entity saying, hey, thanks for, helping me out. I appreciate you. Ultimately, the intrusive entity, even if they don't want to leave, they're always thankful and happy that they left. You have to kind of think of it as a mental illness. And if I'm having a hard time, then I need to call on Jaguar. When I did my training, I had so many extractions. I don't even know how many. And it's forbidden, like between clients, to use this without me going through that process, because then the client could take this other entity, They will make their way out. They're not locked in here forever. So if I don't take care of business, then that intrusive entity is now floating around in here, right? So, and like as far as cord cutting goes, you can use a feather, you can use a butter knife. Some people have these like amazing ninja looking knives, but it's not supposed to be sharp. And you literally cut around the client, kind of like a psychic surgery, if you will.
Yeah.
And I got my incense burning, and I have a feather to cauterize the wounds. And there's a lot of conversation that comes with this too. And the cord of love, even if I wanted to cut it, it never gets cut. So we never have to worry, like, especially a lot of people cut cords with their parents and family, and like not ancestors, like their direct families. So they feel guilt and shame. So you don't have to feel guilt and shame about that. And there's a lot of conversation that comes with it. And like I said, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. And it's powerful, and anybody can do this training, right? But if you feel the call, then you know who you are. And I recommend taking it for sure. And there's a lot of behind the scenes work as well. A lot of people don't realize, like even just making these floras, like I pick the flowers, I'm in tune with the moon cycles and seasonal cycles. It's who I am anyways. I enjoy it. But even when I don't have a client, I'm saying prayers for clients that I've already had. So there's this constant like continuum going on. I'm just getting passionate now. I know you asked me about the Akashic Records. I hope I answered that question.
No, you did. We're learning. We're learning.
Yeah,
Hopefully you'll have me back as a returning guest,
for sure.
I love talking about this kind of stuff. And
we love hearing
and I
about
mean,
it.
how do I summarize one story, right? Come on, like there's
Right.
8 books here.
I mean, we'll definitely have you back on and talk about your books. And I mean, I feel the same way about the Akashic Records. I don't feel like it's something that's set in stone. I feel like no matter what you do, there's going to be infinite possibilities of an outcome for your life. So, I agree with what you said. And it's pretty cool, about the detachments, because, I could just, think to myself about if I got one cut from me, cut from my body or my soul, whatever, however it works, the conversation it would have, saying goodbye. Man, Tony, it was nice getting you in trouble all those years. See you later.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's still so much that we need to touch on. There was Project 30. Also, I mean, there's a lot. So
Yeah, the Project 30 ISIS Unity extraction.
yes.
Geez, I
I
mean,
mean, I
where
feel
to
like
start
we
with
could just
that?
continue on and on and on and on with these conversations, but I know
Yeah.
we committed, but
I do want to
we
go ahead
have
and
to.
start cutting into your to talk about the
Yeah.
conference, and if we can,
There's okay, so my suggestion is play the Gina promo video because that'll kind of wrap up everything I said, and then the conference promo will be easy for me to slide through that. So that's
Okay.
my suggestion, just to play the Gina promo there, add it to the stage.
All right, here we go.
I do all kinds of things: gemstone readings, mind reprogramming, energy medicine. At this time in my life, I've been redirected by Source to bring us together. The Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective through an umbrella term called Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. You're invited to dream with us. Through dreams half remembered and half misunderstood, we fill in the gaps for each other because we're all one. There's all kinds of times and dates lined up that I would absolutely adore for you to be a part of. And one of my favorite things to do is to assert that the Akashic records are not a permanent record because your past never defines you. And we can do what's called living consciously so we can die consciously. United are we. Be free. Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective awaits you. Dream with us. My name is Gina Virginia Casella, creator and visionary of Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. See you in dreams.
What's going on, everyone? It's Tony Mars with the Melted Broadcast. If you or anyone you know would like to come on the show and talk about your experience, maybe you've experienced paranormal, maybe you've been studying ancient history or the forbidden knowledge all your life, maybe you're a spiritual teacher. If you would like to come on the show, you can reach me at themeltedbroadcast@gmail.com or hit us up on the website at www.themeltedbroadcast.com. Peace.
All right. So Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. What does this even mean? It's this Venn diagram. It's all these circles of my world coming together. All my content is merging. Movies are being made. Lushing is going to be released at the Summer Days Conference. So there's much to say about Project 30. There's 30 people. I don't know who they are. Well, 29 because I'm one of the 30. And we do this. We get together. We host shows. We put on conferences. We create sacred space, safe space for people to share their story medicine in honor of the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective. So we are your community co-dreaming ecosystem. This is all through dreams, half remembered and half misunderstood, by the way. So if you ever ask me to explain myself, good luck with that. And that's the power of me. I'm the village idiot. I used to be shy about that. I don't watch scary movies. I have watched some Gaia and whatnot, but I often find myself talking about things that I have no idea what I'm talking about, but other people do. And there's other people out there like me, and there's lots of other people out there who hear people like me talk. And that's another reason why it's important for us to get together. So I offer lots of services. This picture here is just at glance, everything merging together, my books, my services, even me being on this show is all part of my dream world, bridging with the waking world. And so, like I said, movies are being made. Jason H., also known as Missing Time 420, is his, you can find him in the chat often. he's helping me transform the mini movies into big movies. And Michael Kopp is going to help with that too. This one here, just reiterating how our stories are medicine. Every Tuesday, I go live. I host a show, Story Species, Story Medicine, Extra Strength. And on Wednesdays, I go live for Hangout. I give you updates. And we've got our conference, the Continuum of Conscious Evolution Conference Series. There's 4 every year online. And the 5th one, it's always pending. It's going to be in the summer this year. I'm really not sure about that. I also offer privates, very limited. This year, these are our dates. They're all set in stone. So next week, we've got Summer Days, Saturday, June 13th. If anybody's interested in presenting at Falling Consciously, Saturday, September 19th, or at Season of Dreams, Saturday, December 12th, reach out to yours truly so we can start connecting. The first ever conference I hosted was called Promise of Spring. I did it all by myself. It was a lot of work. And I'm really proud of this because I collaborated with others in the past. I have a teaching career behind me. So, things like Christmas concert, parent-teacher interview night. I have a lot of union experience, but I've never done it on my own and not online. So lots of learning curves. And the success of Promise of Spring was really important to set the precedents for the rest. So people know what they're getting into. We had tons of compliments. We got phenomenal feedback from Promise of Spring, and it's with deep gratitude. The Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective appreciates all the medicine bears. What is a medicine bear? Well, you know what? It's all about, I call it the confused warrior syndrome. So you have to be quiet, otherwise you'll get hurt. You have to stay small to stay safe. Don't rock the boat. Like, warriors don't understand that. So you learn to become the wisdom keeper, which means you keep your mouth shut, otherwise you'll be persecuted. And when it's safe to share, then you can share. So people who are actually showing their faces and using their names, they're known as the medicine bears because they're providing the very much needed story medicine. So this is at glance the presenters from last time. You might recognize some of their faces, like Michael on the top center there. He's been on your show before.
Yeah.
My good friend Brian Rue, Chris Latour, Alex Lipton, and Suze Gallagher. Myself too, I told my story of the Gnome King. I won't be presenting at this conference. Summer Days. We just had our live tech rehearsal before me coming on here today. So that's all part of setting the precedent. So if there's a presenter you want to see and they're supposed to present at 12:30, they will be presenting at 12:30. So I was really, I don't want to use the word strict, but I wasn't shy to set standards to make the day flow and to make the day successful. So all of these folks here, Laura Ferguson, Sheila, Spiral Sister Murray, Julia Anchorhaven, Soma Ara, Slavka the Natural Sentient, and Missy Hill. I'm absolutely thrilled to be welcoming all 6 of them to be our Dragon speakers. They're each going to talk about something a little bit different. They all have different backgrounds. Some of them you see on TV all the time talking, but for most of them, it's their first time really shining their light. And for most of them, it was absolute hell putting their presentation together. And that's part of the story medicine. They all wanted extra time and going through the motions, the behind the scenes. I mean, I'm soaking it all up as the administrator. They're not getting paid for their time. It's all volunteer. So I've asked them for their commitment. And in exchange, I've provided them each with a full gemstone reading, creation of my own making. And some of them I've really gone the extra mile helping them with their presentations, which I didn't have to do. I could have said, hey, you know what, figure out your shit or I'll find another presenter. But that's not who I am, right? And I understand when somebody's being lazy versus when somebody just doesn't have the background. We all have different backgrounds, right? So it's brought us a lot closer together. And that's what the Soul Tribe is all about. And so Julia is going to be double timing. She's going to be helping out behind the scenes as a monitor as well. Michael Kopp and Jason H. as well, helping out behind the scenes. This, I won't go over it in detail, but this is just at glance what the presenters are going to be talking about. A big thank you to Laura Ferguson, Starseed Lolo, because she created an intro song for me to use for my Tuesday show, Story Species, Story Medicine. And then that picture that you see of the dragon, she just did that on her own. And that's actually a prediction in my book series, that people just like Laura start doing things on their own for me, just out of their own free will, wanting to get in on things. Sheila, how we're all connected. She's got multiple books that she's published. Laura, by the way, is going to be providing us with some sound healing and a presentation. So she's like a featured speaker. Yeah. Sheila's the keynote. Then we've got Julia. Lots of people are going to be looking forward to her presentation. Julia in particular, she's very vulnerable right now because she's just starting to be open about her experience. And so it's really ideal timing wise for her to be presenting. I wanted her to present at the first conference. She wasn't there on her journey. And then when she said she wanted to present at this one, I was like, yes, because it'll be her first time presenting in general. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was laughing at because your assignment.
Yeah, and Soma, she's not going to be channeling. Laura's not going to be channeling either. But Soma is known for channeling, but she's going to be talking about how, like, when she was a little girl, she experienced trauma. She's not going to go into the details about the trauma, but that's when she started to connect with the Pleiadians. And she learned that she was actually always in connection with them, even in past lives. But the trauma awakened this. So again, transforming trauma into treasure. How many other people like Soma are having experiences and think that they're struggling with mental illness or something, right? So all these presentations are powerful in their own right. I was hopeful somebody was going to talk about feelings, and then Slavka told me she was going to be talking about self-sabotage, the shrinking of the soul. We met the other day about her presentation, and I love it. I mean, I love all the presentations, but if I was going to present, I would probably present something like Slavka is presenting, rules of the mind type stuff. And Missy is really interesting too, because she has this thing about her where she walks or drives and the earth, the land starts communicating to her and it tells her the history. And then she does grid work and heals the land, heals the ghost and spirits. And so how many people are like Missy who might think something's wrong with them when really turns out you're just a grid worker, and maybe you've never heard that word before, grid worker.
Yeah.
Me, Gina, I'm the visionary behind it all. I try for this not to sound like a resume, but this is my new matrix now, so it doesn't mention that I was a teacher in there. And this is our schedule. So we have a very prompt start, 9 a.m., but you can absolutely come hang out with me live at 8:30. And we're running a tight ship, so we might fall behind a couple minutes or whatever, but that's about it. And between each presenter, there's a break. I thought about having like an hour lunch, but given that this isn't online, I think people can figure out that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And we're going to open and close sacred space. We're going to journey in and out of the pine tree forest. On each break, there's a special little... you can remove it from the stage now, Tony, thanks. There's a special video that I'm providing. So the first conference, each break, there was a special video about me doing my gemstone reading. So I was teaching you a little bit about like what this gemstone means and what does it mean when they look like this. And for these breaks, I'm going to be talking about my tools that I use as the unmaker. So I'm really looking forward to all of this, and just so much to say and cover. And it's a relief that finally, like, people like you are having me on their shows so I can get the word out, because it's at the point now where, like I said, movies are being made. And so I'm not one to make predictions either, and so I'm excited to see, like, is this going to happen? And then when Laura started making, like, random Canva stuff about me, Michael randomly wanting to get involved, like, this is all part of that. And somebody out there, let me know if it's you, but somebody out there is supposed to create a ballet based on the Dragon Dreams book series.
Yeah.
Okay, so whoever you are, I'm
Come
excited about
forward.
that. And people are supposed to, like, paint paintings, and I need music. I need theme music for my movie, so why not get it from the Soul Tribe, right? You
Yeah.
guys produce music, send it my way. I'll try and utilize it.
I do all
So
that.
Yeah.
that's why I'm using Laura's music.
I have an empty canvas that I started painting. I don't know what it is. So I tell him when he asks, I don't know what I'm painting. It's whatever comes through is what lands on that canvas. So I don't know. But yeah, I didn't have that gift until, well, I didn't know I had that gift until 2017 when the doctor said find a hobby. And literally I just started doing that. But yeah, crazy.
So your subconscious mind needed something to express. You don't know what you're
Yes.
doing, but you just do it, and the language will find itself, the way of knowing. That's really
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
This is exciting, the conference, guys, and whoever's supposed to do the ballet, y'all need to come forward because now I'm invested in this 100%. So let's
Yeah.
go. Where are you? Reach out to Gina.
Or do like a little short animated videos for it. That's something that I've been wanting to do. I kind of wrote a little short that I have that I wanted to turn into like a little animated movie, and I tried working on it, but it's really difficult to do the animation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
and
worked in film before.
and it could be pricey, but it still is something that I do plan on doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm a total newbie amateur. I'm using Canva. I'm not being endorsed by Canva, but it was really challenging. I mean, you just can't get enough images or video to play around with, right? So,
That is
well,
so.
if you're looking for content to transform into videos, you've got all this that you're welcome to work with.
There you go. You should try for videos. You should check out Firefly. It's they do some really good videos.
And we're not endorsed by them either. So
Yeah, we're not endorsed by them either. But if you guys would like to send a check my way,
oh my goodness. Okay.
well, thank you so much, Gina Casella, for coming on, and everybody who watched this. Don't forget to go check out the Summer Days, June 13th, and check out those Dragon Teachers. And it's going to be
Yes.
awesome. I definitely want to check it out and check out those books, those cards. And real quick, again, where can everybody reach you, get a hold of you, check out your books, your cards?
Yeah, there's my Buy Me a Coffee. I put it there in the private chat. I'll email it to you again. Gina Virginia Casella, my website as well, ginavirginiacasella.com. Your soul tribe awaits you. Come hang out with us. Come dream with us. Let's co-dream this beautiful world into being. If the world ever needed anything, it's more hopes and dreams, and we have that power. We really do. And I really thank you both for having me on your show today. Tony and Mary, is really quite the Dragon's delight to be here with you. And I look forward to coming on here lots more. And maybe you'll come be speakers at my conference too, sharing your story medicine about why you started the Melted broadcast. That's really important too, to share that.
Yeah, we would love to, for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I hope, I know everybody else did, but I know I specifically did. I don't know why, but I did. I really did. I understood, but I didn't understand.
Yeah, she's been looking for her crew, like the females, and
I've been trying to find my tribe.
yeah, and you had whenever you reached out to me, I'm like, she's perfect.
Over here, Mary, Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective.
Yeah,
and you know what?
I tell him where are all I feel like there's no offense to our kings because we love all you guys, but I love all my queens too. But I feel like there's just some things that we go through as experiencers or healers and stuff that we need to, get from the female side. Like for me, right? It's saturated with so many men. Like how many times can I be on some of these podcasts and like, do they really get it? Because they don't go through certain things that we go through, but then we don't really understand 100%, but we can understand maybe 99% as as women. So that's, I was like, where's my tribe? I'm lonely over here on this side. I want to, but I don't, because I'm very, scared of outside world. Too many energies out there drain me so badly. But
Well,
anyway,
you know what? Duality is really in my face, and duality is how this book series works. So if you ever feel lost or confused, it actually means you're on the right track. So when I'm listening to you speak, I'm like, yep, she's part of the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe. That's pretty clear to me. Like, feeling confused means you're right on track, exactly where you need to be. Not being certain is certain. So if you want to be certain of your certainty, trust that it's not certain. That's how you be certain.
Now you could go and get yourself a little dragon tattoo, which is crazy because my very first tattoo was a freaking dragon. It looked like the Mortal Kombat dragon, but
oh my God.
yeah.
You're too funny.
Yeah.
But all right, Gina, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll reach back out and get this ball rolling on getting this out for you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Next time.
People say that I'm one of the greats, I'm the one that you love to hate. Shake 'em up like a quake, pop your feelings and turn and dispose them like haters I throw away. I'm forever blessed, got the spirit that's wholly controlling me, I ain't gotta coordinate. I just sit back and book my bills and I'm ready to blast in the stars of my destination. Melted, broadcast, open vision. Melted, broadcast, open vision. Melted, broadcast, open vision. Melted, broadcast, open vision.